Welcome to another week. Good to see y'all here. If you see me looking over that way, it's because I got the chat over here, or I'll look at it. So good to see you all. Yes, we are still doing a Monday morning thing. I sort of got all the way to the office and forgot realized I didn't have my keys. So I had to turn around and go all the way home and get those. Put me about 20 minutes behind. So that's okay. That's okay. We're here. I made it. Hold on. I'm going to take my shoes off. Anyway, we're going to talk calorie counting here in a little bit. I'm currently tracking calories myself in a bit of a deficit, wanting to peel off a little body fat. Something that I knew I was going to ultimately have to do again. I was under no illusion that I was going to lose all the weight and then I was going to be done forever. I just knew I was going to be done with weight loss is the big problem. There was that switch that flipped. I'm not going back to this obese lifestyle. Because I had realized my obese lifestyle was really a byproduct of my emotional eating and of not taking care of my life. My obesity was my physical manifestation of my lack of care for myself and my life not being the way I wanted it. And as well as a good, healthy dose of just not knowing any better. There's a lot of things about food I just didn't know. And calorie tracking really increased my awareness to a lot of things, which in turn made it a lot easier for me to lose weight, which in turn has made it so much easier. In fact, I've actually been successful for the first time at keeping the weight off. I gotta really emphasize this, y'all. The way I do weight loss doesn't just result in losing it, it results in losing it and keeping it off. The ways I don't do it, I know will help people lose weight. A lot of people are like, yeah, but what about keto? What about intermittent fasting? What about a shakes diet? I'm like, yeah, they'll all work to help you lose weight. But that's not what you're trying to do, right? Many of you, you've lost weight and you gained it back. So are you happy with the results? Well, no, because you gained it back. We're all looking for the same thing. I was looking for a solution that resulted in me losing the weight for how long? Forever. I didn't want to go back up to where I was before. So, something to think about. Your strategy. Is your strategy helping you lose weight and keep it off, or is your strategy just helping you lose weight? Really important to think about that. All right, so coming again to the chat, we'll get to some questions or challenges if we have any, but do me a favor. Give me your wins over here in the chat. Would love to hear what went well for you this last week. Let's just keep your wins to the last 7 days. Tell me how you kicked ass the last 7 days, what you've done that's really served you well. And while you do that, I'm going to take a brief moment and rearrange this because this does not look tasteful at all. I mean, you do, your comment does, but the box itself. I would like to do some formatting. So say we're going to go with color and you're going to drag that all the way over there. And we need a color, so we're going to come over here and grab us one of them nifty little yellow colors. Whoa, that looks terrible. That's not what I thought it was going to do. Let's maybe make it... that's more like it. That's more like it. Let's see, we can actually read that. But that needs a border. Let's see, border, color. Yeah. And that border's too thick. Again, tell me your wins in the chat. I want to see your wins. I want to hear about how you kicked ass this last week. All right, while I'm getting my colors all situated, that'll give you all a chance to get them typed into the comments. That's better. Make that part yellow. And we'll round the corners a little bit. Look at that. We're doing live formatting. Anyway, thanks, Maggie, for letting your comment be my guinea pig here. So again, what'd you do? Humble brag. Humble brag. Some of y'all ain't humble bragging enough. And here's the thing. When I talk about wins, some people are like, well, I can't put that I took 7,000 steps yesterday because I've already done that. It wasn't the first time. No. Wins don't require originality to be a win. If you're tracking your calories and you tracked them 5 days this last week, that's a win. Did you ever think about that? That's a win. If you said you were going to go on a walk every day and you went on a walk every day, that's a win. Yeah, it can't be a win, Chris. I've gone on a walk every day for the last 6 months. You're the one that added to the story. I didn't say, give me your first time wins. I mean, of course, I'd like your first time wins, but just wins too. So Look to your last 7 days. What have you done in the name of becoming successful? Here's your chance to brag. It is so important to find one teeny tiny individual little win every single day. If you don't, you're just not looking. Because you can find a win in every day. Every single day, there's a win that can have a light shown upon it. If you say the win has to be big, then you'll miss it because you're like, well, I don't have any big wins. If you say the win has to be original, like first time or haven't done it in a long time, well, then you may not have any because you can't do an original thing every day. You're going to have to do a lot of things on repeat. This weight loss journey gets very repetitive, especially in the middle bit. All right. Looking here at our comments. Okay, so we got a few now coming in. Thank you. Let's see. We should go back up. Here we go. Kim got 12,000 steps yesterday. That's excellent. Joseph, new size pants today. 44s was in the 50s back in November. That's a win. I like that. Molly started gym training. There's an E there. Excellent. Rhea, yesterday my friend asked if I could let his dog out because he was out of town. I chose to take the dog for a walk to get steps in. Bravo. Oh, you know what? Let's just do some fun music while we're doing this. Hold on. While I'm reading the wins. I think I got my... There we go. There's my fun win music. All right. Let's see. Ended up getting lost in his neighborhood, though. Turned a 20-minute walk turned into an hour. Well, I like that. I like turning the short walk into a long walk. Let's see. My ass kicked this last week, LMAO. Well, tell me about it. How did you kick it? Walked outside 4 times. I was able to leave a bit at every meal. Nice. Ran a 5K on Saturday. And my time was from the exact race 1 year ago. It was over 5 minutes faster this year. I like that. 5 minutes faster. 5 minutes faster. No, wait. No. We want the air horn for 5 minutes faster. 5 minutes faster. That's excellent. Let's see. Oh, my ass kicked me this last week. All right. Let's see, Karen. I'm getting a good night. 7 to 9 hours of sleep consistently. Excellent. Ended up with over 11,000 steps yesterday because of that walk. What? 11,000 steps? That's amazing. Kristen, I kept my plan. Excellent. Maggie, my mother-in-law passed away 1 month ago. I'm sorry to hear that. But there's the win. I've not gained an ounce. I'm surprised that I maintain. I'm proud of myself. Isn't this cheesy with the music and the fake audio, fake cheering? But it's still fun. I still enjoy it. My steps last week are the highest since before I hurt my knee. Man, some great wins, y'all. Thanks for sharing that. I like hearing the wins. Now, tell me about a challenge or a struggle you've had to go through this last week. Tell me about something you've had to work through, something that's been difficult, something that's been challenging. Let me hear all about it. Something you had to overcome. I'll tell you about one of mine. Kickstarted. So as I said, I'm tracking calories, and couple of days in this last 7 days, I was hungry, and I'd finish eating, and I'm like has a good enough amount of food, but I can tell that I still want more food. Like, I could tell that I am not eating enough. But I just had to remind myself, like, that's what you're going for, man. That's what you're going for. Your clients all the time talk to you in like weeks 2 or 3 and 4 about like that hunger showing up. And what do you always say, Chris? I'm like, well, I always tell them that's normal. Just keep going. It'll normalize after a couple of weeks. That's what I tell them. Like, don't give in. I know it's tempting, but don't give in. You know, you're watching your calories. You know you gave yourself enough. Just go do something. Go get busy. Go do something. Don't sit around and think about how hungry you are. And so that's what I did. I just tried to stay busy. And it worked. I had a few days where I was like, I do not have a clue how I'm going to make it from breakfast to lunch and not eat something. Like, I am so hungry right now. And I'd go get to working, get to doing my things, and I'd make it. It'd be okay. So that's been a challenge I've had to overcome. Oh, I've got another challenge I'm overcoming. Here, hold on. Let me go grab something. I had to go back on ADHD meds. I haven't been on them in a while. I know I got a lot of fellow ADHD brains here. My fellow distracted brothers and sisters. So I've usually liked to keep my life organized and stress-free and lifestyle and manage everything in such a way where I don't really need to use ADHD meds. I don't like using medication for anything if I can avoid it. But it's been challenging. So I tried, went back on these and I'm like, yep, that's immediately better. Like first day, I was like, that's immediately better. So I don't know how long I'll be using my meds again. I've gone off and on them since I was 25. I don't like relying on meds. If I can, I'd rather alter my lifestyle, but just sometimes it doesn't work right. Sometimes that doesn't work right. So anyway, that's been another new thing for me. And I think it's important to share because I've been vocal in the past about how I don't like to use my meds. I like to try to stay off them. And I think sometimes people think like, oh, I'm not as good or I'm worse because I'm using a medication. It's like, no, that's you adding story to what I said. I never said that. This is just what I'm doing. And you know what? What I'm looking for is to get results. And if I need my medication to get my results, then I need my medication to get my results. If I can get results without medication, that is my personal preference. But other people don't want to do that. And it's totally okay. So I just thought it was important to show like I'm using it. I don't think that this is a sign I'm worse. I think it's a sign that circumstances have changed and I need to alter how I approach the situation because the circumstances have changed. It's not a moral thing. It's not good or bad. It's just a thing. All right, let's come back to the chat. Let's see here what we got going on with the challenges and struggles to overcome. Oh, wait, hold on. Candace mentioned this one. Oh, wait, hold on. Can I highlight a comment? Oh, yeah, here we go. So if I wanted to highlight a specific comment, but how do I want to do that in a way where it doesn't? Oh, there we go. I'll put it over me. So we got this comment from my wife. Yeah, I may be going back to Planet Fitness where I live because they did just remodel and they brought all my new favorites back. So in this local gym. So I love it. All right. So Rhea, you like the cheesy, with the cheesy music? All right, good. So we'll keep the cheese. Maggie, I'm finding that fiber is super important. 21 grams on average. Nice. You'll notice it when you're getting a high fiber. Oh yeah, you also had a recently remodeled gym. It is fun playing with the new toys. The gym feels like a playground, and for me, they've added monkey bars, which on my weight loss journey was a big deal. I remember the first time I walked up to a set of monkey bars in my Planet Fitness, I looked at them and I'm like, I want to go all the way across those. I remember I jumped up and I grabbed it. I couldn't make it one rung. Literally on the first one, I fell down. I couldn't do it. I mean, not like wouldn't hurt myself, just fell off and landed on my feet. So I trained for like 6 months hard until finally I could go across them once. And it was awful. It was hard. So I've picked a new challenge. I want to grab a rung, do a pull-up, go to the next rung, do a pull-up, go to the next rung, do a pull-up, go all the way down, all the way back. I believe there's 6 bars, so that'll be 12. I can't do it. I can't do it. But I want to set my sights on it because I still remember when I couldn't even hang on to the bar. Like that's where I started. And so it's just really fun to see where I'm going with this. Anyway, so yeah, it does feel like a playground. Let's see. Oh, here we go. So yes, Rhea and I had a conversation. So hopefully, let's see. I challenged some of my beliefs last week and had a real emotional response from contemplation since I did not turn to food. Yes. Instead, I just tried to understand the feels. Yes, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. You just sit in them. You just feel it. It's amazing how many problems in my life have been solved with some crying. It works. All right. Let's see. Karen. Summer brings pool parties and neighborhood hangouts. These usually include lots of food and alcohol. I have not done well over the last 2 weeks. Okay, Karen, what you gonna do? How you gonna change it up? Yeah, I need you to look at those and unpack them. Why did you not do well? I'm glad you identified it. That is important, but the summer has only just begun. So I want you to come through it on the other side and be like, I learned a lot. What do I say at the beginning of every podcast episode? What do I say? I say the same thing. As I'm doing the intro, welcome to the Becoming Thin podcast. But what failure did you go through and what lesson did you get from that failure? So, Karen, if you're here, if you're willing, dig in right now. What lesson are you going to get from this? What's your lesson? Or are you just going to let it be a thing that happened? What you going to get out of it? Let's see. Michael, morning me needs to slap nighttime me. I'm struggling with the frozen yogurt ice cream parlor within walking distance. Michael, what are your rules around this place? What are your rules around the frozen yogurt ice cream parlor down the street? This reminds me of my own journey. I wouldn't keep at one point, I was not keeping chips or anything in my house. I said, if I want them, I'm storing them at the 7-Eleven down the street. And if I want them, I can walk down there and get them. But I can only get one and I got to eat it on the way back. I remember one point I had a rule like that. I didn't keep that rule forever. I had it for a few months. You got to have a rule. That way you're like, nope, this is my rule. I'm not breaking my rule. So Michael, what is your rule here that you're going to stick to? I think that's, you got to really think about it. Articulate it. And if you're brave enough, come up with a rule now and tell us. Candace, since I work from home, I feel really unmotivated to move. Okay. Want to challenge you. Has nothing to do with working from home. If working from home caused a person to be unmotivated to move, every single person that works from home would be unmotivated to move. And that just objectively is not what happens. Go deeper, Candace. Go deeper. Why? Why does being at home cause you to feel unmotivated to move? Get below the surface. The obvious answer is never the answer. This is not the answer. You are on the right path, though, because you're identifying that there's some sort of a connection here. But go deeper. This doesn't give you anything actionable. Ask a more helpful question. I love, but you're on the right path. I like that you're identifying it. I love that endless rope pull at my Planet Fitness now. Yeah, we got one of those too. I like it. It's fun. Ron, I lost about 100 pounds back in 2018. Put 50 back on. A key missing piece last time is now different. It's not just me now. My wife is totally in with me and we are changing together food and exercise. Ron, what are you going to do when your wife's not? I'm telling you, you both are not going to be totally in all the time. My wife and I are both super into fitness. We're super into take care of our bodies. We are not always in sync. There are plenty of times where I'm just like, man, I'm taking it easy right now for long stretches. And there's times where she's taking it easy. So if the only reason this works is because she's all in, what is your plan for when she's not? Right now, your plan relies on her. That's a problem. It's good. Use it. Take advantage of it. It's awesome. When my wife and I are both in sync, it is amazing. We can get so much more done when we're both in sync. So much more done. But I also know my plan cannot rely on my wife being in the groove with me. It cannot require that for it to be successful. Because otherwise, whenever she stops, I'm going to stop. That's not a plan for long-term success. So I like that you're identifying it. I like that you're in a groove right now. But let's not rest on our laurels, okay? Let's make sure that you are setting yourself up for success in the long term. I have seen so many people, they think the accountability partner, the workout partner, their partner is the thing required for success. No, that sometimes is the thing that causes you to fail because you rely on that other person. When they stop, you stop. You're the leader. Do this because you're in it. I know it's helpful when your partner's in it. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. No, it is a good thing. Like, as I said, when my partner's doing it in the groove, it's awesome. Let's see. If you're taking weight loss clothes, when should you buy nice clothes? As soon as you can. I chose on my journey to stay in nice clothes the entire time because I wanted to feel good about myself. All right. This right here is important, Rhea. I felt really tired after. That's a sign of a good cry. If a good cry leaves you exhausted and drained, you probably got some stuff out that needed to be gotten out. So I actually go looking for that feeling now. I'm like, that's where I know. Like sometimes, like literally, my heart aches afterward. That's what you're looking for sometimes. That's a good healing cry. And a healing cry is not always pleasant. Sometimes they're very painful, but it's because some pain is being processed. And it can be scary. Oh, so scary. Just to let go of the emotional reins and let the emotions just completely take you over and take you to your knees, crying and hurting and just aching. But that sometimes is where the best healing is found. Because you know what? You're not going to die from crying. You're not going to die from being sad today. You might be worse off from resisting the crying, from resisting the sadness, but sometimes you just gotta let it out. Anyway, back to our comment section here. So no, I've been keeping hunger journal where I write out my hunger level at the top of the hour, making sure I'm only eating between a 1 and 4. I like that. And hey, everybody, if you are looking to study your hunger, like what Noah's talking about here, I've made a hunger study guide. So you see over there's this little link that says becomingthin.com. If you go to becomingthin.com in the top right-hand corner, there's a button you can click where you can download my hunger study guide. Would love to get you learning about your hunger. Oh, hey, by the way, before I forget, I'm doing a workshop, a free 3-day workshop next week. It's called The Mindset of Weight Loss. So if any of you here are struggling, any of you here are new to the weight loss journey, maybe looking to get started, that's the event for you. Head on over to imnotquitting.com. That's IMNOT quitting.com. IMNOT quitting.com. And you can register. It's totally free. 3 days, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It syncs up with the anniversary of my weight loss journey. Next week is the 6-year anniversary of my weight loss journey, starting when I made the first decisions to take action. I'm going to talk about the beginning mindsets and the beginning actions and give people the first steps to getting a huge weight loss journey and success. If you want to get results like mine, this is the seminar to come to. And you can register for that, again, totally free at imnotquitting.com. And by the way, if you're here right now, do me a favor, smash that like button. Helps the YouTube algorithm. YouTube relies heavily on that sort of stuff. And that would help me get this live stream in front of more people, which is what I want to do. So go ahead and give that like button a smash. Appreciate that. Let's see. Yeah, Maggie, crying is good for the soul. Crying is so good for the soul. Let's see. Heading to the mountains this weekend, which includes happy hour boat rides every evening, trying to plan ahead. Do you need to have booze to enjoy yourself? Is that a requirement? So, let's see. Being lazy. No. Lazy is the symptom. It's like a headache. Lazy comes from something else, and it's not because you are innately lazy. You are not an innately lazy person. I just don't accept that. But that does not mean you don't do things that might on the surface appear lazy. But you are not a lazy person innately. Laziness is the symptom. It's the headache. You take an aspirin for the headache, but the cause of the headache isn't addressed. What is the cause of the laziness? All right, what has worked for me? You're just saying, I'm done eating, kitchen closed. That's a good one. And try not to overthink. Better off just going to sleep and recharging my calorie reserves. Yes. Let's see here. Just skimming through these. Anything I want to quickly highlight. Here we go. I definitely need to schedule workouts or I won't do it. You know who else needs to schedule the workouts so they won't do it? This guy. Me. If I don't schedule my workouts, they usually don't happen. You know what kind of people that work out do? You know what people that work out regularly do? They schedule their workouts if they're busy. Because if I'm busy, it won't happen. And when I'm busy, important things get on the calendar to make sure I'm going to do it. So, yes. Brilliant identification. That's exactly it. Exactly it. All right. Calorie counting. Do me a favor. Give me a 1 in the chat if you are currently tracking your calories. I want to know who my calorie tracking people are here. So just give me a 1 over here in the chat. There's a little bit of a lag here on the Zoom, so I got to wait a minute for them all to show up. So if you're tracking your calories, give me a 1. If you are not tracking calories, give me a 2. If you were tracking them and you stopped, give me a 3. Give me a 1 if you're currently tracking calories. Give me a 2 if you're not tracking calories and you haven't. Give me a 3 if you were tracking them and you've stopped tracking them. So 1 if you're tracking them, 2 if you've not ever tracked them, 3 if you were tracking them but you're no longer tracking them. I want to know who's who. Wow, there they are. Okay, ones. Oh, we got ones coming in. All right, let the rest come in. 1 if you're tracking, 2 if you've not tracked, never have, 3 if you were and you have stopped and you're not doing it right now. Okay. So we'll let the rest of those come rolling in. I got your chat over here. Okay, we got a 3. All right, so here's the thing. calorie tracking is such an eye-opening experience. Such an eye-opening experience. Okay, we don't have any twos coming in. That's pretty great. When you track calories, it gives you something, a term that I've come up with. It's called caloric awareness. So many of us, if we look to ourselves at our biggest, we possess no caloric awareness. We had no idea how many calories were in foods, how many calories were needed to maintain our weight, and how many calories we were taking in a day. I had no idea that at my biggest, to maintain my weight, I needed like 3,000 plus calories a day. I had no idea, and I had no idea that I was regularly eating 4,000 plus calories a day, sometimes 5,000 and 6,000 calories in a day. I don't even know the last time I've had 5,000 or 6,000 calories in a day. I don't even know. It's been a long, long time. And I'm including Thanksgiving in there because I don't think I do that on Thanksgiving anymore. Even because I just eat less meals on that day. I eat a lot for Thanksgiving meal, but that's about all I eat that day. And it's about all I eat for about 3 days. But I used to do it regularly. I was consuming 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 calories in a day. So I had a repetitive Wednesday, the year leading up to my decision to lose weight. I had a very repetitive Wednesday. And so I was curious, and I looked back in time, and I figured out the calories of everything I typically ate. On just a regular default standard Wednesday, I would eat 4,500 calories every Wednesday for like a year as the baseline. I definitely ate more than that some Wednesdays. 4,500 calories every week? And that was just one day. I went and one point entered in like typical days to just kind of see like what was a plausible, realistic day, not an over-the-top day and not a ridiculous, just sort of a middle-of-the-road day. I regularly had 4,000 plus calorie days. Like it was frequent. Every multiple days, every week, I had 4,000 plus calorie days. Well, no wonder I got fat. I was eating way more than my body needed, and I was blaming carbs. No, it wasn't carbs. I was just eating too much. Period. End of story. End of sentence. And here's the really fun thing. I now, because of what I do for work, have really gotten a sense from just talking to a person. Like if a person describes their average day to day to me, I could guess within about 500 to 1,000 steps of what their daily average is. I mean, I've gotten pretty good at it. And so I reflected back on my past. Again, on a typical week, I was averaging at most, no, not at most, no, because I would occasionally get out in the field. So if providing I wasn't out in the field for my previous job, a typical office week, I might only take 2 to 3,500 calorie steps per day. So I was walking 2,000 to 3,500 steps per day, low intensity, and definitely zero exercise. And I was consuming 4,000 plus calories regularly. And on a low day, it would definitely still be over 3,000. Well, no wonder I was getting fat. It wasn't a slow metabolism. What has a slow metabolism got to do with me eating that much food and not moving that much? Had nothing to do with it. I just didn't know. I didn't understand just how much movement was required to move the needle, and I didn't understand just how far off the mark I was. I had no awareness. I had no awareness to just how few calories I needed to eat, but I also had no awareness to how many it was. When I first started, I was eating about 2,700 calories a day, and I was losing weight. I mean, you couldn't do that the whole time, but I could do that for the first several months. Bring up the movement a little bit, lower the calories a little bit. 2,700 calories is a lot of calories still. And I was losing weight and eating everything I wanted because of calorie tracking and monitoring my movement. Doing those two things gave me freedom. I know a person isn't doing it right when they say, when I track my calories, I feel so restricted. No, that means your emotional eating is running rampant or you're reducing your calories too much. Sometimes people do that. We reduce them way too much. Because a person, again, they're completely unaware that they've been eating about 4,000 plus calories a day. And they're like, well, I'm going to drop my calories down to 1,500 calories a day. And then by the end of the first day, you're like, shit, I'm hungry. Well, yeah, your system is used to getting a lot more food in you, and you did not give your body at all of a time to get acclimated and work your way down. None. You just rip that Band-Aid off. How's that feeling? It's miserable. When you track your calories, your eyes just get opened to how much food you're taking in. And if you start adding your movement in it, it's how little you're moving. But if you're an emotional eater, if you like to eat your feelings, if your favorite way of coping with stress is with food and sitting activities like TV, movies, crocheting, video games, reading a book, gossiping with your friends, doom scrolling. If that's your favorite way to pass the time when you're stressed, and then you pair it with food, especially ultra palatable, tasty, delicious, sugary, tasty, delicious food, well, that's not a recipe for success, unless success for you is getting fatter every year. That's a recipe for getting bigger. That's what it is. You see, when you emotionally eat, calorie tracking is going to shine a humongous spotlight on it. I mean, humongous, right? Like here, this will be fun. I got fancy lights in here. Well, come on. I had fancy lights. Come on, you can do it. Connect, please. Connect, please. You see, when you start calorie tracking, until that point, it's like you're in the dark. And then all of a sudden, we could see not moving very much. And then we turn on the other light about the calorie equation. We can see you're eating a lot. When we work on both of these, the movement and the food, weight loss will occur. But you got to be paying attention to both. And when you're doing both, the spotlight will shine on you. And you'll see that the number one saboteur is not your family, it's not your friends, it's not your coworkers. It's you and your own brain. Your own brain is the biggest saboteur. Your emotional eating is the biggest thing that's going to hold you back. When you start tracking your calories, your emotional eating is going to have nowhere to hide. Unless you decide to hide it in the numbers, which you can do. A lot of people do that. They'll budget a binge. Don't. Because you see, the problematic behavior is not the individual foods you eat. Will you need to pay attention to individual foods? Undoubtedly, yes. Many of you will need to do that. But that's just, that'll come later. The problematic thing you got to stop doing is solving your problems in the bottom of a box of food. Looking for your happiness inside of a soda. Trying to find your peace in a bowl of ice cream. Trying to find your joy on the 5th slice of pizza. You see, it always comes down to volume. And it comes down to the motive. You see, a slice of pizza is just a slice of pizza. What makes it positive or negative comes down to the motive behind the choice to eat it or not to eat it. You see, if you look at a slice of pizza and you think, no, I can't have it because pizza's bad. I'm going to tell you to eat the pizza just to flip off that side of you that says pizza's bad. Just to defy it. Have it anyway. Well, no, Chris, I won't lose weight if I have that slice of pizza. Exactly. Go have the slice of pizza. You're only not having it because you're a dieter. Dieters say, I can't have pizza, it's bad. It won't make me lose weight. No, that's what dieters say. A person that gets it says, oh, I'm not having that pizza. It's too many simple carbs, and I want to have the carbs later in the day. I could have it. I just don't want to. I'd rather have that. It's just a choice, right? It's just a choice. It's like, do I turn right at the light or go left when they both take me to the same place? It's just which way is my favorite, right? Just a choice. I'm aware if I turn to the right, I get to go on the highway. I'm aware if I go to the left, I go down surface streets. What kind of drive do I want to have today? They both get me there at about the same time. But now I would also feel like I have to have this pizza. Even if you budget it, even if it's scheduled like, no, if I'm around pizza, I have to have it. I have no choice. I'm going to tell you, well, then don't. Just to flip off the side of you that says you have to have it. You see, I'm a big believer of you're in charge, not food. You are. Food is not good, nor is it bad. It's just food. If you want to have some, have some. If you don't, don't. And when you're tracking your calories, you can work anything in. You want pizza? Work it in. You want cake? Work it in. You want cookies? Work it in. You want steak? Work it in. You want a salad? Work it in. Doesn't matter. I don't care what you want to have. Just work it into your budget. But when you got that emotional side of you that just wants to have something that's not on your plan, you don't have a calorie tracking problem. You have an emotional eating problem. You got to look at the motive. So this book, I talk about this book all the time, The 8 Keys to End Emotional Eating by Howard Farkas. Such a powerful book. But one of the things he talks about here is you got to break the diet mentality. And many people think that tracking your calories is part of the diet mentality. No, tracking your calories is just keeping score. The mentality comes down to what happens in your brain. Let me read this. Diet promoters speak to you with great confidence, promising guaranteed success and quick results. They understand that you're looking for someone who can tell you with absolute certainty what you should eat in order to lose weight. But dieting is a trap, and this promise is the irresistible bait that lures you in. It's very seductive for those who struggle with eating and have concerns about their weight. In this chapter, I'll explain the role that this diet mentality plays in the development and maintenance of the emotional eating cycle. The emotional eating cycle. Did you know that there's an emotional eating cycle? But let me skip ahead to the motive. He has a whole section in here about understanding the motive behind emotional eating, which I think is one of the most powerful chapters in the entire book. Because many of us, we don't actually understand our motive. We don't understand what does it. Let's read a section here from the book together. When the demands of dieting, combined with other sources of control, whether they're strains in personal relationships or crisis situations at work, the cumulative effect can trigger episodes of emotional eating. You may wonder how eating helps someone cope with all those other sources of control. After all, eating seems like an overly specific response that's unrelated to something like work or relationship stress. If you imagine trying to lift a large bucket loaded with many different heavy items, the strain of carrying it is caused by the overall weight, not by the type of items it contains. Being on a diet is only one layer in that bucket of demands, although a considerable one that you have to confront repeatedly each day. So it talks about many of us are dealing with these demands, these stressors in our life, and we're holding them in a bucket, so to speak, right? So the bucket is heavy. Here's the thing is I could tell you how heavy this is. You don't even need to know what's in it. And so when we're thinking of all these rocks that are in here, one of the big rocks that's in this bucket is dieting. And it's a rock you got to deal with every day. That's if you're stuck in the dieting cycle and mentality. So let's come back to this. Having to cope with all those different stressors can make you feel increasingly limited by forces beyond your control. And eventually, the stress surpasses some personal threshold of what you can tolerate. That line is really, really big right here. Having to cope with all those different stressors can make you feel increasingly limited by forces beyond your control. You will notice, many of you, your emotional eating will show up, and often in the same day, you will have felt something. You will have experienced something that will make you feel like you are less in control. It'll threaten your autonomy. It'll threaten your freedom. Maybe a boss comes in and gives you an assignment that you didn't really want. A coworker quit, causing you to have to take on increased workload. A family member got sick and had to go to the hospital. You're powerless to do anything about it. Your child's not doing well. Your husband screamed at you. You got into a car accident. Some old emotional baggage is coming to the surface. Essentially, something is happening and you are feeling powerless. You will notice that with many of you that struggle with emotional eating, when you feel powerless, the urge to emotionally eat simultaneously increases. Remember that. Having to cope with all those different stressors can make you feel increasingly limited by forces beyond your control, and eventually the stress surpasses some personal threshold of what you can tolerate. We all have a limit. I've discovered this about myself. I have a limit. If I want to stop emotional eating, I have a responsibility to make sure I don't get too stressed. If I get too stressed, I know I'm likely to turn to emotional eating. So it's my responsibility to ensure that I don't get that stressed. It's my responsibility. Because if I do, I start to act out. Because emotional eating is a logical response for many of us. Doesn't mean it's a good response. Doesn't even mean we should do it. It just means it makes sense. It's rational. Dieting may be only one of those stressors, but it's one whose rules and limitations may be violated in complete privacy, minimizing, at least temporarily, the inevitable sense of shame. So you will often feel something in your life coming and threatening your autonomy. I gave you several examples earlier. And so we feel this urge to defy, to rebel, to push back, to reclaim our autonomy and our freedom. But I can't do anything about it. My mom's in the hospital. There's nothing I can do about it. I am powerless. I can feel in control when I go home and I defy my diet, though. Now I'm in control. You see, emotional eating is nothing more than the mind seeking to prove that it's in control, even though that's not at all what it's doing. It's just a trick. Let's keep going. Rebelling against that source of control makes the whole bucket lighter and a lot easier to carry around. So again, back to our bucket. The bucket's getting heavy because other things have been added to it, so you reach in there and you grab your diet rock and you throw it out. It does make the bucket lighter, but that diet rock was important. Rebelling against that source of control makes the whole bucket lighter and a lot easier to carry around. That's one reason emotional eating is so hard to stop. The fact that different sources of stress can combine to reach that threshold of feeling controlled may account for why people attribute their emotional eating to such a wide range of causes. Since those other stresses are easy to identify as external causes, they also seem to be more plausible triggers of emotional eating than something like dieting, which seems to be more internally motivated. So here's the thing to remember. Think of the stress like a meter, a gauge going up. Once it reaches the threshold, you're going to start acting out. It doesn't matter if one thing pushed you over the threshold or 50 things pushed you over the threshold. Doesn't matter. All that matters is you have passed the threshold of stress that you're willing to endure before you start acting out. Once you pass it, you will start acting out. We all have a limit. The limit changes and moves over time, but that's a topic for another day. When people break the rules, they feel they're taking back control. When people break the rules, they feel they're taking back control. So we will turn to emotional eating because it makes us feel like we're taking back control when we don't feel like we're in control at all. All these things around us are happening. I feel out of control. This thing happened at work. This thing happened with my spouse and my kids, my wife, my friends, my health, my house, my dog, my car, my whatever. And I feel out of control. So what do? I go seize control by taking and pushing back against my diet. Ironically, most people experience breaking the diet rules as losing control rather than taking it back. Think about that. We want to take control, and yet we describe emotional eating as I lost control. This is understandable since all they're really aware of is a very helpless feeling, like driving on ice and going into an uncontrollable skid. You quickly realize that steering is useless, and all you can do is just wait until the car stops and hopes for the best. As one patient told me, when I decide to binge, it feels like I'm getting into a roller coaster just before it starts, thinking, I don't want to do this, but once I'm locked in, I just give up and go along for the ride. That sounds familiar to me too. Before I make the case that there's a basic human tendency to push back against control, I'll pose a challenge. Question. Aside from general drunken revelry and dissolute behavior, what do spring break, Mardi Gras, and 21st birthday bar crawl and bachelor parties all have in common? Each is a type of ritual that marks either the start or conclusion of some type of limitation on people's freedom. You're going to notice a trend here. I just want to read one more part, and then we're going to stop here. Here we go. One with this. Many people scheduled to undergo bariatric weight loss surgery often binge a few days before the procedure as their way of marking what they incorrectly believe will be their last chance to eat normally. I love to call that the Last Supper. I've had many a Last Supper. Going on a diet tomorrow. Let's eat an insane amount of food because I'm never going to do this again. Let's eat all the carbs because I ain't eating any more carbs. And recall that in the story, the mindset that underlies this reaction is the same that motivates the private behavior of emotional eating. In all these situations, the behavior people engage in more often resembles a caricature of freedom rather than true autonomy. It's more like role-playing their fantasy of what real autonomy is like. So many people that struggle with their weight, their emotional eater, have this fantasy that normal people don't pay attention to anything. They do whatever they want and they don't gain weight. But when you do whatever you want, you gain weight. Therefore, you're broken. No, normal people don't just do whatever they want and not think about their body at all endlessly. Many of us, for us to get big, we adopted some distorted views on reality and arrived at false conclusions. I used to say I was getting older when I really should have been saying is, I've just been neglecting my body for 20 years and it's starting to show. Some of you are like, yeah, I'm getting old. I'm 45, I'm 50, I'm having these problems. No, you're not getting old. You've just been neglecting your body for 30 years and it's starting to show. If you start taking care of your body, you will literally begin to feel younger. I feel younger at 40 than I did when I was 30. Seriously. I feel better now at 40 years old than I did at 30 years old. By a lot. I'm in amazing shape. I'm very strong. And I have great endurance. Why? Because I've been working at it for a while. And it shows. I stopped neglecting my body, and for the last 6 years, I have been tending to and caring to it, and it shows. The reality is when we are at our biggest, it is obvious that we neglect our body and we don't take care of it. It sucks, but that is what's obvious. Think about it this way. How many of you would love to walk around with a sign that floats above your head that shows your net worth, taking into account all your debt? So if you have $10,000, but you got $50,000 in debt, your net worth is negative $40,000. I'm willing to bet a lot of you, your net worth is negative. Would you like to walk around with a floating sign above you that shows your financial net worth? The reality is if you're negative, it's because you haven't had a good financial plan. Your finances haven't worked out. You've had bad planning with bad behaviors. You could have had bad luck, fall upon you, but then again, you weren't financially prepared to handle the bad luck. I know some people, there's nothing they can do about it. You were dealt such a shitty hand that you're coming back from pretty far away. Odds are it's not you. And so the reality is many of us, our body is a sign of how we take care of ourselves. The reality is many of us don't. When we're at our biggest, we were not taking care of our body. Not at all. But it's not our fault. I mean, my parents didn't do the best job at teaching me how to take care of my body. Not at all. They did not do a particularly great job. But I don't blame them. They didn't really know what to do either. I actually kind of know what I'm doing now, and so does my wife, and it's still hard to know what to teach kids on how to take care of their body. It is hard to do. I'm not upset at my parents. I'm not mad at them. It's not a knock against them. I would never want them to think that. But just the fact is, I was not taught well how to take care of my body. And as a result, when I became an adult, I continued to not take care of my body. And it showed. You could just look at me and see that dude doesn't take care of himself. But then I started to take care of myself. And the more I did it, my body started to look more like I was taking care of it. And at the center of all of this was calorie tracking. I did not calorie track the whole time. I don't think that's necessary. I calorie tracked off and on. And I still calorie track off and on because I must increase awareness. I must know what I'm taking in. When I started calorie tracking, I became aware of the energy, but I also began to become aware of things like protein and fiber and sodium and vitamins and carbs and fats. I started becoming aware of what's in my food. I started becoming aware of how these things impact me and affect me. And I started to make different choices. So if you want to get different results in your life, consider tracking. If you want to find out when and where you emotionally eat, start tracking. You'll find it. It won't take long. You'll know it right away. And then you can begin to do the work to work through it. Now, some of you don't got a great relationship with failure, and that's going to keep setting you back. But that's a topic for another day. All right. I'm going to wrap up here, everybody. Go have a kick-ass, amazing week. Set a weight loss goal. Go crush it. Set a calorie target goal. Do whatever you got to do. Don't give up. Keep working on your weight loss dreams. It is going to be difficult. It is going to be hard, but you can do hard things. And I'll see you next week.